Okay. So good evening today. A huge event is going to take place during our class. So when we have a break, we'll have a celebration for that event. Uh, till that time, we'll focus ourselves on the class itself. So the first to log in is Darshan, then Rajiv Kumar Singh, Harshit, and Kriti. So good evening to all of you. Sunil Kumar has also logged in. Okay. So let us start. So let us start from where we left the last day, day one. Just give me a second. Okay, so here we were, e-commerce transaction processing. Now, so let us say good evening to all of you again. So Gundu Chandrasekhar, Sahu SK, all of us have logged in. Now, so most of all this e-commerce processing of the transaction we read in chapter 4. So we'll keep the discussion small till that extent. Most of it includes advance payments. We talked about that either through credit card, debit card issued by the bank. Here the user logs in on e-commerce website, places an order and selects option for payment, cards or internet banking. And we have talked in much detail in chapter 4. So there is nothing to add on this in chapter 5 now, as of now. Okay. Now, there is a case study on core banking system deployment that is given in the module. So we'll just take help from the module. So I'll bring the module. Just give me a second. So we have talked about the steps of implementing systems. So to that extent, this will be applicable here also. Because even if you talk of say core banking system, so core banking system is also a system. Okay, so to that extent, all idea about implementation that we talked about in previous chapter are relevant here also. Okay. So here is a case study that is in the module. I'll read through this and then we'll try to draw down the key steps. Okay. So XYZ is one of the largest public sector bank in India. Process is leading the information technology company in India, uh, offering quality software products and service both in domestic and international markets. The bank has signed a strategic partnership with Process. Accordingly, XYZ Bank has licensed Process banking software, which includes, now just read this, we may have a rapid fire on this paragraph, which includes BankSoft, the core banking solution, eConnect, the financial middleware, eBanker, the internet banking solution. XYZ intends to deploy the BankSoft across 1,500 branches over the next 3 years, suggests the appropriate technical steps that need to be taken by management for implementing this system in a bank. So case has been thrown to us that there is a bank which has 1,500 branches and it wants to deploy a core banking system. So three modules for core banking system that includes the core banking solution, the eConnect and eBanker solution. So how you are going to proceed to this? So a very short answer is given in the module. So it is not that short as it appears here, but for the sake of it, this requires a lot of understanding, lot of knowledge gaining about the operations, about the bank, in order to have gain knowledge about the client's business. So same idea is applicable here also. You have to plan it. You have to see what is the business, how the business is there, how the business is growing to uh, going to come up, grow in the future period. So based on that, this analysis, the whole system is implemented. What future uh, what future requirement of the bank are going to be in uh, near future or coming 3 years, 5 years. So this becomes the basis based on which you go for implementing this core banking system. So let us read through this. The IT solution to be deployed by a bank envisages setting up of data center with main server, web server, database server, application server, and backup server. The data center will be replicated in another location with similar type of hardware and network. Now, please understand this replicated. This is a very important word. So you will have to remember, because see, whatever is given in the module is a very minuscule discussion, minuscule data, minuscule information about the whole process. It's a very big process. Okay. So you replicate because you want to create what is called as a disaster recovery center, uh, data recovery center. You create replication. So I'll just underline the word so that you can carry this. It's good to know and understand. So the word replicated. Okay. So why replication is being done? Because see, bank, the way it is operating, just imagine public sector bank like State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, we have ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, the volume they are doing. So it is a impossibility that any of these banks main server crashes and the banking operation stops. So it is going to be huge disaster if such an event occurs. So they have got a replicated database. So just understand that the line is very, very important. I'll just read through that. The data center will be replicated at another location with similar type of hardware and network. Please understand this, you may call as a mirror site or a replicated site. So if main center that has servers, the total cost of server is say 1000 crores. So, or say 100 crores is the total cost of this server. The replicated site will also have 100 crores as the cost of server. So just try to understand. It's a very intensive exercise. Okay. So replication. Then, so the number of servers have been talked about. Web server, database server, application, and backup server. The identified branches will be connected to data center and backup data center through VSAT. VSAT, you must have seen that small aperture small aperture terminals are there. VSAT is very small aperture terminals. If you do the full form, VSAT is very small aperture terminals. Just to allow you to visualize, we all have dish TVs you have seen across the city, town, village we all live in. So that dish is a VSAT size dish. So this allows direct connectivity to data centers. See, one of the core things that you need to look to, you need to ensure when you create a core banking system is because the data is going to be centralized. So in the given case, XYZ bank, all 1500 bank branches need to be connected to its data center. So they connect it through VSAT and lease line. So this VSAT and lease line is basically the way you connect a network. So VSAT, you connect it through satellite. Lease line is a dedicated line that connects the data center to any location. So of course, you cannot have lease line across the country because the cost of hiring a lease line network is very high. So you connect through VSAT terminals, and to lay down lease line across the length and breadth of the country might be tough. The location of the branches also may make it tough to have lease line. I'll give you a very good example from a state in south on this VSAT. Okay, we'll be talking about Kerala. Each of the branches will have terminals with Windows, net version for Telnet and iLink. So you have to remember, okay, see what we are basically reading is a solution of how XYZ bank core banking system is going to be implemented. So this solution is not the last thing. Lot of homework, hard work has been done before this solution has been presented to you. So as of now, just remember it. Okay. Then XYZ, some more updates have been given. XYZ has 9,500 ATMs which are connected to main server, and it intends to add 3,000 more. So that is 12,500 ATMs, and customers of any of the 12,500 branches can operate their account and transact online from anywhere. So means treating each ATM as an independent branch. So you'll have to connect 1,500 branches and 12,500 ATMs. So it's a huge network connectivity that you need to create. So what you are basically reading in this is a solution to the issue of XYZ bank that has been given to you. So just keep a tag of it. Just remember, more details will take in the how it is actually done is part of the next discussion. Okay. So we have completed your topic. So let us celebrate the landing. Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. Thanks to all of you who have joined late also. Now, Darshan, asynchronous attack is a very special category of attack. We'll come to that because you have talked about a word. Okay. Now, how it is implemented. So this is important. And please understand that this paper being there, not being there, once you become chartered accountants, this is where this aspect of implementing core banking system is that you all can play a role once you become chartered accountant. So this is an opportunity that you are reading through. Now, the example that I wanted to take from Kerala as a state. See, in India, Jammu Kashmir and Kerala are there. Maybe in other states, I know about these two states. They have what is called as houseboats. So you can stay in those houseboats, backwaters of Kerala, very beautiful. Jammu Kashmir, exceptionally beautiful. So those houseboats are there. You can stay in the houseboat. So I was just reading through. I have had my experience to that. So in Kerala, you stay in the houseboats, then you can travel in that, and then you can, when you wake up in the morning, you can have a good breakfast. Okay, steaming hot breakfast being served through another boat that is traveling in water. So you are in a moving boat. The person who is serving you the breakfast is also on a moving boat. So one of the public sector bank realized that if people are moving and they are buying and selling, so there may be need for money while you are in the backwaters uh, of such a river. So the public sector bank, they have created an ATM on a boat. So chalti firti now par ATM hai. Now that, so you can call the person who is the managing that boat with an ATM, call the person near you, withdraw your cash, and then you can move forward. But now that boat is a good example of this learning, the VSATs. So that boat is a moving boat, and it has to be connected. Just consider that the ATM on the boat is by XYZ bank that you are reading through. So how net connectivity of the ATM on boat will be created to the data center. So it will be created through what is called as VSAT. That is very small aperture terminal. The disk is put on the top of the ATM, and that connects to satellite and links itself to the data center. Another example, you generally in big cities, it is there. That is mobile ATM. Banks have created, in fact, during COVID, banks, because people couldn't go out and they may need cash. So banks increase the movement of their mobile ATM. So mobile van comes in your colony, your residential area on a specified date at a specified time, and then you can withdraw cash through the ATM. So that mobile van also has a VSAT terminal that connects to the data center. So there you use this VSAT terminal. So the idea of creating this discussion was that to create internet, if mobility is there, you are not static, then you can create a good internet connection through VSAT terminals. Then implementation of core banking system. So this is an opportunity, and all of you being chartered accountants, please understand that there are key skills that you are going to possess as chartered accountant. That includes analysis, that includes compliance of law, that includes the idea about internal controls, segregation of duty, Maker cannot be checker. So all this knowledge is needed during implementation of any software. So those of you who have knack, of you who enjoy working with systems, so this is a big opportunity once you become chartered accountants, and this area you can always choose as a part of your career development, implementation of softwares. Okay. So now let us read through what we'll do. For this discussion, we'll keep XYZ bank as an example. Okay. So the basic data is there. So at each state, we link the header to the XYZ example. So I'm reading. An automated information system such as core banking system provides a platform for processing information within enterprise, extend to external service providers. The core banking system software meets the need of bank right from customer, staff, vendor, regulator, and auditors. Core banking system covers the entire flow of information right from initiation, processing to storage, achieving of archiving of archiving is saving it for future use. The core banking system also interfaces with various types of software that may be developed in-house or procured from different vendors. This software must be updated as required on regular basis. The deployment and implementation of core banking system should be controlled at various stages to ensure the automation objectives are achieved. So now see, you are reading about automation. So automation we learned in chapter 1, business process automation. So when bank is also implementing its core banking system, it is basically looking for automating its operation. Now, so see how these chapters are linked through. Automation we read in chapter 1. Bank is implementing a core banking system. We talked about Finacle, banks, and multiple FlexCube as core banking system. So these are also defined as bank ERP. Bank ERP. Chapter 2, we talked about ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning Software. Let us read the definition of Chapter 2. Chapter 2 definition of ERP was uh, a, soft, a software where the user, the entity can optimize utilization of all the resources. It increases the economy, efficiency, effectiveness of usage. So all these are being merged together. Okay. Now let us read the steps when you are implementing a core banking system. Planning is very, very, very important. So now what I'll be doing as we read through, I'll be asking questions. So my first question will be on planning. Okay, we have talked about XYZ. So just keep a tag of it. Okay, so each line I'll read, I link it to the XYZ and I'll pick a word from the line and then I'll ask you to answer something relating to that word from the case study of XYZ bank. Okay, मैं पढ़ूंगा एक एक लाइन, हर लाइन में से एक शब्द को पिक करूंगा, उस शब्द के संबंध में XYZ बैंक के डेटा की कोई बात आपसे पूछूंगा. Keep yourself ready. Planning. So planning for implementation of core banking system should be done as per the strategic and business objectives of the bank. I want you to answer anything that we read in XYZ bank that is indicator of its strategy or business objective. So you are going to write planning and that keyword, key information that you felt relates to XYZ's strategic and business objective. So welcome back. So that allowed you to answer the question. Good. So first question you have answered. I'll read by name. Darshan, Himanshu. Bank intends to deploy BankSoft across 1,500 branches. Good. Bank has signed a strategic IT. Very good, Darshan. Partnership with the company process. Setting up of 1,500 branches. Yeah, Sunil Kumar, the information needs update, but the idea is correct. Then no, I wanted specific Sahu SK Gundu Chandrasekhar. Yes, the adding another 3,000 ATMs located at different locations for easy access. So this is strategy. This is future. Okay, I'll just bring. See, please understand this implementation of software has to be a real good opportunity for all of you in future. Okay, I'm just giving you a simple example to project how you need to imagine. Okay, just let me do it. Say, one of the things about implementation is like the document numbers. Okay, suppose I am the bank and this is I'm sharing my voucher number series. Just I'll tell you the background and then you tell me the problem. Okay. So this is my voucher number series. It works like this. DDMMXXX. Now, what exactly it is? DD is the date. So let us say 23. Month is, say, 08. XXX is 001, voucher number. So what happens? As the date changes, the next day's voucher number will be, say, do you see a flaw in this? Can you project a problem in this way of voucher numbering? Okay, just keep it. Let me go through the next header. Okay. Next is, so what I'm seeking, I've shared you a voucher series like that. I want you to identify a flaw in the series I've shared. Okay. That will tell you how much in future we can think. I've already shared one example regarding this. I am talking on this. Okay. Approval. Now, the decision to implement core banking systems require high investment and recurring cost and will impact how banking services are provided by bank. Hence, the decision must be approved by board of directors. This is very, very, very important. Now, I'm asking you a real tough question. So on the approval, I have highlighted board of directors. I'm asking a tough question to you. If the selection of the software is incorrect, means the bank had to buy a category of software, but it has bought a B category software. So if the software selection is incorrect and the software selected doesn't have proper internal controls, so software selection is improper, the controls needed are not there. As an auditor, which standard on auditing you are going to use to communicate this aspect? Let me repeat my question. The software selected by the board of directors is improper, not the best one. The controls needed for a bank are not there in the software. You are statutory auditor of the bank. Which standard on auditing you are going to use to communicate this lapse? So first question was the issue in voucher numbering. Second question is how you are going to communicate this lacuna. Yes, very good. So I think no, Himanshu, because okay, let me answer. Himanshu have put a good point, so let me answer that. See, because Himanshu, the point here, let me read the point, then you'll get the idea behind it. It's a good discussion. Himanshu says that each voucher will not be serially numbered. Agreed. So there is going to be difference. Now, on the same day, the voucher will be serially numbered. But from day 1 to day 2, the difference will be there. But because the logic we have developed, so no confusion will come. Okay, so that is taken, Himanshu. Yeah, so Darshan says it correctly. It is limited to 999 vouchers per day. Bank, just imagine the bank that you are looking at, XYZ Bank. It is going to implement core banking system at virtually 15,000 location. The data says 1,500 branches and 12,500 ATMs. Join them together. So 14,000 is an existing total. So roughly 15,000 locations you are going to implement. Each location is going to generate at least one voucher daily. So this voucher number will fail because restricted by time. The same thing we discussed when we talked about the 10-digit mobile number. We talked about the number of registered mobile numbers in India. It's around 115 crore. So when 115 crore mobile numbers are there, it has consumed all the 10 digits of the mobile. It's a very risky proposition. So there has to be some solution. One of the solution probably may be making your mobile numbers 11 digit. Like our train numbers, which were 4 digit some 10 to 15 years back. Now our train numbers are 5 digits. So that is part of the the strategic activity that you need to see how you're going to grow in future. So let us see other answers. So then, yeah, Varsha, I have answered your issue. Misplaced voucher, okay, not going to. If you want to access previous, no, it will be possible, Sunil. Good. The point that Sunil Kumar has made good because the voucher number is restricted by date and month. Looking at that, you will not be able to identify which year's voucher is that. So, Sunil, that point is good point. Yes. Then, yes. So, this e-chocolate for second question has to go to, let me refresh. How many of you are getting the e-chocolate for the second question? Yeah, I think it is only going to Darshan. SA 260. Communicating with those charged with governance. Because these are the people who are responsible for implementing controls. Very good. Then selection. Okay. So what the board of directors says, okay, we approve the implementation of core banking system. Now the appropriate vendor has to be selected. SA 620 Gundu Chandrasekhara. That is about going concern. SA 620. Please say the name, name also. Yeah. Then I'll answer that, Gundu Chandrasekhara. Yeah. Although there are multiple vendors of core banking system, each solution has key differentiator. Hence, banks shall select the right solution which is scalable. Okay. And where different parameters are available. Great. So what I am doing, I am underlining the line that I want to ask you. The right selection. So right solution. So from the paragraph on XYZ Bank, what were the indicators that the selection of process was based on right combinations? There were few things in that para. Please mark those. Okay, SS620 is using work of auditors expert. No, that doesn't go Gundu Chandrasekhar. No. Two are good. SA 260 communicating with those charged with governance, and SA 265 communicating deficiencies in internal control. Okay. So what in selection you have to tell me what were the lines that indicated that the bank has selected the right solution. Then next, whether the software is designed and developed or procured. Now, because see, let us read the paragraph. Core banking solution used to be earlier developed in-house by the bank. Currently, most of the core banking system deployments are procured, there should be appropriate controls covering the design or development or procurement of core banking system for the bank. Yes, so the word that you're learning here is procured. See the size of it and the updates that you need to do, so that can will be done better by a dedicated developer who is catering to that idea only. So procurement. So procurement is you buy a ready-made product available and then configure, customize it as per your own need. Okay. So I'm looking for the right solution. No. Okay. Scalable. Okay, let me bring the, I'll underline the paragraph. It's up there. Just give me a second. So I want to tell you the right solution. See what bank selected. Banksoft. Yes. So it selected Banksoft core banking solution, eConnect financial middleware, and eBanker for internet solutions. So they made a reasonable good selection today that this is what is needed today. And scalability is for the future, today's selection. Then, so most of the core banking miss the size and the complexity of the business and need for it. So you go for a ready-made procured software, ready-made available software that you customize for your needs. Then testing, very, very, very important. Extensive testing must be done before core banking system is made live. The testing is to be done at different phases at procurement stage to testing suitability to data migration, because from existing system you are going to move to core banking. So you need to migrate data and to confirm processing of various types of transaction of all modules, procedures, and correct results. Just for the sake of it, just for your knowledge, because you are also reading bank audit and there are types of bank audit, which includes statutory branch audit, concurrent audit. I talked about another audit, revenue audit. Let me talk about another audit in this testing. A word has been used here. The word is migration. So special audit bankers get done by professional, that is called as migration audit. So the intent purpose of that migration audit is exactly what is given in the paragraph, to see whether the data from old system has been correctly transferred to the new system. So that is testing. So two aspects, old data has to be transferred correctly and the current system has to work properly. So both aspects are covered in testing. And then implementing once everything goes proper. Then maintenance, yes, maintenance has to be done, because whatever core banking system you are going to use, you need to update yourself. The update may be necessitated by regulatory changes. The updates may be necessitated because you decide to provide addition. Say, for example, in XYZ bank case, today they have taken internet banking module. Okay. Now, suppose some time back they decide that they are going to allow mobile banking also. So they will have to update. So all this becomes part of the maintenance, and the second word is also there, updation, and then regular audit of it. So that is a very good discussion on implementation. Yes. So you have written a lot of points. Gundu Chandrasekhar, connection to data center backup through VSAT, lease line, yeah, whichever is more appropriate, whichever is more secure in the given situation, that is selected. Varsha says the bank going for CBS and interconnected through eConnect, the financial middleware, the data center. Yeah, so this is good indication of the solution they are seeking. Good. So let us bring our PPT. Just give me a second. I'll just take a minute. Yeah. So this aspect, implementation, we took the steps now. So this completes main topic 2, that is architecture of core banking system. Then core banking system risk, security and controls. So what are so main topic is core banking system risk, security and controls. Then risk associated with core banking system, the security policy and what internal controls are there in bank systems. Now again, this is important. So the risk as defined in the module include operational risk, credit risk, market risk and strategic risk and technology risk that we are going to take from the module in detail. Now operational risk is, it includes risk that may come from transaction processing, information security, legal compliance and people related risks. So these risks, these are risks. So you need to have proper controls to mitigate the possible losses that you may get from these risks. The banking operation, credit risk is the basic business of the bank. Market, the market in which the bank is operating. Strategic risk, you take a very strategically wrong decision. Okay, and IT risk we are going to take from the module in detail. So here IT risk is described. Once a complete business is captured by technology and processes are automated in core banking system, the data center of the bank, the customers, management staff are completely dependent on data center. Yes, some of the common IT risks associated related to core banking includes ownership of data and process. Who owns all this? What are the authorization and authentication processes? So ownership technically has to reside with the bank itself. Then we need to understand that we have talked about, it's a good discussion. Okay, we are trying to read the word ownership. So who owns data? Now data that any bank has, most of the data relates to third person. So if I have a saving bank account in the bank, it is my saving bank account. If you take a loan from a bank, it's your loan account in the bank. Now the question is, who owns that? Ownership has to have some conditions attached. So in this case, suppose the bank owns that data. I'm asking you this question. Okay, it's a good question for you to answer. We are discussing the word ownership of. Now, suppose the bank is the owner of data. So the question that I want to ask is, my data is with bank, your data is also with the bank. The question that I'm asking is, can bank share this data with anyone? You have to say yes, no. Can bank share this data with anyone when it owns data? भाई हम बोल रहे बैंक ओनर है डेटा का, तो क्या इस डेटा को बैंक चाहे जिसके साथ शेयर कर सकता है क्या? Say yes, no. Okay. Then authorization. Authorization means how transactions are authorized in the banking system. So how your checks are cleared, how loans are sanctioned, that process. Authentication is how a user validates himself or herself whenever he or she logs in through internet banking. So how user authenticates himself or herself. We talked about RBI mandate that internet banking mandatory OTP has to be received on mobile. So that becomes part of the authentication process. Good. So the correct answer is no. Himanshu, so I'm reading those who need to learn. So Himanshu Gunda Chandrasekhara, the correct answer is no. Section 43 capital A. Please remember this section. I'm repeating it. 43 capital A of Information Technology Act 2000 as amended in 2008. It talks about the custody of data that any organization has. So it says that you are custodian. You cannot share that data with any person. Secrecy, confidentiality has to be maintained by the organization. And the e-chocolate answer goes to Darshan. I told you that please remember this. DP square, the new law that has come into place. Okay, digital privacy and data protection. So that law further restricts sharing with any third person. So an organization can only use it for intended person. वो सिर्फ तय उद्देश्य के लिए ही कस्टमर के जानकारी का प्रयोग कर सकती है, किसी अतिरिक्त कार्य के लिए प्रयोग कर सकती नहीं है. That is. So again, this is important. Please do carry this. Then, some common IT risks relating to core banking systems. Several software interface across diverse network. We'll be talking more on that. Maintaining response time. Response time means now today we are in technology driven banking. So you log in through mobile or desktop, laptop, as the case may be. You must get immediate response. Then user identity management. How user identity is created and captured in system. How access controls are built into the system. Incident handling. Incident handling means any event that is generally treated as an abnormal event. So how that is captured, how action is taken on that, how updates, how change management is held, controlled in the system. Then next is security policy. So large corporation like bank, financial institution need to have a laid down framework for security with properly defined organizational structure. Security policy creation is a top management job. So yes, created by board of directors. The security policy is going to look to these aspects, which include information security policy procedures and practices, user administration policy and practices, application security, database security, network, physical operating system security. So these securities need to be created properly. Then we'll take a module. Just allow me to bring it. Just give me a second. So sample risk of security controls relating to so we'll just read through. I'll read through fast. It's, I think, a very, yeah, okay. We'll read through few points from this. So what is the risk and what controls can be put in place? Significant information resource may be modified inappropriately, disclosed without authorization, and or may be unavailable when needed. So what you need to ensure, super user access to administrator password are changed on system installation and are available with administrator only. Password of super use or administrator is adequately protected. So you need to ensure that the admin or the super user password is not misused. Then I'll read this one. User accountability is not established. all users are required to have a unique user ID. So that is again very important. So I'll request you to run through this. So the header of this is sample listing of risk and controls with relation to information security, and we read it in terms of the bank itself. Okay. Then coming to internal control system in bank. Okay. Okay, so you have captured the word ISO. Good, Ankit, and good, Darshan. I'll brief on ISO. It's a good topic to talk about. Let me see what is the next slide. Okay, internal control in bank. So I'll brief on ISO. So this ISO is international standard. Okay. So it is also called as, you can keep a name if you want to carry this. These are called as ISMS standards, Information Security Management System. ISMS, Information Security Management System. So these are the standards. So what you're basically looking at are the chapters from this standard on what security policy you need to create. So there are series of standards in ISO 27 27,000 series. So the ones I know is ISO 27001, that is header of this slide. Then you have ISO 27002, you have ISO 27701. So number of standards are there, but this 27,000 is basically referred to as Information Security Management System, ISMS standard. You can carry this name. These are referred to as ISMS standards. In fact, this is also practice opportunity, but once you become chartered accountants and your core area of practice is system, then this is a very good area to work. So these are called as ISMS, Information Security Management System standards. Now, so we are here, internal control systems in bank, IT controls, application software, and core banking system processes. So I'll bring the slide for the day. Just give me a second. So here is just give me a second. So this topic we are here, internal control system of bank. So I'll bring it. So objective of internal control system is to ensure orderly and efficient conduct of business, adherence to management policies, safeguarding of assets through prevention, detection of frauds and error. So this includes internal controls in banking environment. Risks are mitigated by implementing controls. So just carry this. Huh? If the topic heading is internal control system in bank, how you reduce the risk by having controls. Then I'll not be reading the example. Maker, checker, you can all run through this. Risks are mitigated by implementing internal controls as appropriate to business environment. Okay. So work of, this is good. Okay, let us read this. I'll be asking a question to you. I told you that we may be sharing the system lapses in number of frauds, a banking fraud like that. So let me bring this one. It's a good discussion, this point. So work of one staff member is invariably supervised by another. Yes, that is maker and checker. So this is segregation of duty. One second. Yeah, I need to highlight this one. Now see the PN Punjab National Bank Nirav Modi fraud. So there are number of parameters to the fraud system related. Okay. So right now I have highlighted one parameter of that fraud. The parameter of the fraud was this. The bank staff who colluded with the fraudster was working in the branch for, as I read in news reports, for more than 6 years. जिस बैंक के स्टाफ ने फ्रॉडस्टर के साथ हाथ मिला के फ्रॉड किया, वो उस जगह उस बैंक पे 6 साल तक काम करता रहा. So this itself was a big indicator of some problem. Because as we know, or as you must be knowing, or as I know the way bank works, so they generally ensure that no staff remains at the same workplace, same job responsibility for more than 3 years. 3 साल से ज्यादा वो किसी को भी रखते ही नहीं है उस जगह पे. So it must have created red flags. Okay. So job rotation, just see that why job rotation is so important. Just keep a tag of the word job rotation. Okay. So this is good. So let us read through, then we may have more cases to share. Then financial and administrative powers of each official position is fixed. Yes, so it is now configured in system. What advances, up to what advances or what sanction branch manager can give. If branch manager sanction limit is, say, for example, branch manager can sanction a cash credit loan up to 1 crore, and you find that at a branch there is a cash credit loan account more than 1 crore, then that sanction must be by a higher official than the branch manager. Generally, the way banks work, so they have got branches, then they have regional offices, zonal offices. So they have categorized the sanctioning powers, the financial powers, and these are fixed in system also. So you can always check that. Then branch managers must send periodic confirmation to their controlling authority on compliances laid down. Number of reports are sent daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, annually to the central system of the bank. So this is again important, whether these are being sent or not. So these are controls which are put in place to ensure that there are no risk, or if the risks are there, the impact is mitigated. Then periodic balancing of books, that you are reading in accounts. Any lost form has to immediately be updated in system. Lost form means now, because technology is there, so the usage of physical demand drafts, usage of physical check, usage of physical fixed deposit receipts has reduced, but it is not zero. So 25 years back, most of the bank fraud were fake demand draft, fake checks. Now, but we don't use those. So that aspect has been killed, but still it is not zero. So any secured stationery, if it is lost, then it has to be communicated very fast. Then fraud prone items like currency, valuable draft, yes. Term deposits, traveler's check, they need to be properly physically controlled, and proper internal audit system has to be put in place. Then IT. So first was having proper internal control. Second is now having proper technology controls. Okay. So I'm reading technology controls. Yeah. So Varsha, because we know Varsha has some experience on bank. So she says bankers change branches and also change the responsibility. Good. The section is 43 capital A. Okay, many of you have mentioned the section, Gundu Chandrasekhar. The section is 43 capital A of Information Technology Act 2000 as amended in 2008. Now, IT controls in banks. So how you reduce the risk? First through internal controls, and now having technology controls. So I'll just run through this fast. maintain records. So there's a whole audit log. I told you that wherever you come across a word that has a meaning of audit log, please keep a tag of it. Ministry of Corporate Affairs circular. Okay. Then, point number 2 is basically if any transaction hits inoperative or a dormant account, so system tags the transaction. Today, the way RBI guideline is that any dormant account, if any transaction debit or credit has to be done, before you allow a dormant account to do any transaction, first you need to revalidate the KYC for the dormant account and then only you allow it to go ahead. So inoperative dormant account. The system checks then whether, so these are checks now which have been put in system. So cash credit loan account we talked in detail. So whether the withdrawal is within the drawing power of the account holder, then if a lien is there, lien means you can take, I think these words are familiar to you, huh? Please see the words that you see on the slide are technical from banking parlance. So if any word is not clear, please put in the chat. I'll explain the word. Okay. So lien you have read. It is, you have read lien, bailer, bailee, in Contract Act also, in bank audit also, bank accounting also. Okay. So if there is a lien on an account, so any processing to that account is only done after a proper validation. Then system is available during specified hours if you are going for physical banking. Online, it's open. Individual users can gain access to specified directories, need to know basis. Okay, that is how you configure your system. Then exception situations such as excess limit, reactivating dormant account can be handled only with a valid supervisory level password. A user timeout is prescribed. Yes, you are logged out from system after a specified duration of time. Okay. Then control. So first was internal control in bank, IT control, and now control in bank's application software. So we have talked a lot on configuration transaction masters in our previous chapter. Just detail is given, and in fact this example you can carry to that chapter also and bring example from that chapter to here also. Okay. So configuration setting, defining the rules for various devices and terminals, creation of user type. I have already talked, we have talked about this. The example we took was small bank, they cannot do infrastructure financing. So that becomes part of configuration. Okay. Creation of customer types, or a small bank will not have a infrastructure borrower. Okay. So just keep a tag. You can always link discussion. Then deposit type, year-end process, the access, user accesses, password management. Then you come to masters. So master can be customer, employee, masters. When you say customer for bank, so customer for bank are two types. Huh? There are customers who deposit in the bank and customers who take loan from the bank. So here when you say customer master, you can break the same in two parts: deposit customers and advance customers. Then so you can add. See, I told you that you need to create value to whatever there is in module. Okay. Then transactions, deposit transactions, advanced transaction, ECS transactions, and GL reports. And last part is the reports that are generated from the banking system. This includes day end reports, daily journal activity, MIS reports, reports covering performance, compliance, and exceptions. Then sample. So I'll not read this sample listing of risk and controls. That is how you. So I think yes, lot of there. Now this topic, core banking system, we need to start. We are exactly at 7. So we will take a break, but break after celebration. So congratulations to all of us and to ISRO and the scientists. Chandrayaan 3 has landed safely. So huge congratulations to all of us. So let us meet. So we'll add a minute to the congratulations. So we'll रिजॉइन एट 7:12। 7:12 पे क्लास फिर से शुरू करेंगे। इट्स ब्रेक टाइम। coming to this internal control system in bank, so core banking system, the relevant risk and controls. Take one by one. So any questions you have, till, because this is going to be a detailed discussion. Yeah, Vasha says you can break asset side and liability side customer in the configuration master. Good. When you are creating masters, yes. So risk and controls for specific banking operation that include current saving account, credit card, mortgages, treasury, loan and trade finance. Now see, please understand. So in this main topic 4, core business process, relevant risk and controls, 5 banking operations have been taken, brought in. So please don't understand that these are the only 5. There are multiple, but based on the volume banks do, based on the criticality of the operation, volume being the core input to this, these have been selected. There could be other banking operations also to which this topic heading directly is going to apply relevant risk and control for core business processes. But because module talks about these 5, so we will keep ourselves focused on these 5. In your examination, questions will come from these 5 only. But the point is that you must be able to visualize that these risks and controls has to be for each aspect of banking operation. So this we have gone through. This application controls we did. Then risk. Now taking this core business process. So most of that discussion we are basically going to do from the module itself. These 2 tables we have gone through. The banks carry out variety of functions across the board, broad spectrum of products that include current accounts, saving accounts, credit card, loans, advances, treasury, and mortgages. So how they work? So the whole discussion will be in 2 parts: the basic business operation and the controls which have been put in place. Now, process flow for CASA facility and the risk and control for current account saving. Now, this discussion has to be learning because a lot of issues will be brought. So keep yourself focused on this. First, we are going to take business process flow for current account saving. So how does it go? The bank gets application from customer, then documents are collected. Just imagine, I think all of you will have your saving account. So just imagine how you opened your saving account. What you do, the steps are there on the slide. You compare your experience of opening saving account to the steps given in the slide, and just in the chat, write any variation that you might have found. It's a good discussion. मुझे लगता है हम सबके सेविंग बैंक अकाउंट हैं. आपने आपके जो सेविंग बैंक अकाउंट खुला होगा तो उसकी जो प्रोसेस रही होगी उस प्रोसेस को स्लाइड पर दिए गए स्टेप से आप 1 to 1 कंपेयर करें, और आपको ऐसा लगता हो कि स्लाइड में कोई स्टेप नहीं है, ज्यादा है, तो चैट में कमेंट करें कि ये एक एडिशनल या एक चीज हमने नहीं की. तो as I read through, I'll request you to put your personal experience of opening a current or opening a saving account and what is given on the slide. So let me read how it is generally done. So what is done? You take application from the customer. Along with the application, now see as we are progressing. So this issue of KYC, know your customer norms, is very strict. Lot of banking fraud had occurred. So the modus operandi of the banking fraud and the way fraudsters were acting. So authorities realized that in many cases, 10 years back, fraud was there. But when the authorities went to track the fraudster, they realized that fraudster had given incorrect documents. So documents made available by the fraudster were inaccurate or fake. So today, one of the factors that authorities, enforcement agencies, and Reserve Bank is very strict upon is about when bankers open a new customer account. So there has to be validation of their KYC documents. And one of the most used KYC documents today is Aadhaar. And now banks are linked to the Aadhaar database. So the validation uh, is biometrically, it can be done online. E-Aadhaar validation. So application from customer along with the documents. Then these documents are handed within the bank to what is called as a credit team or a risk team. Please understand this name of the team may differ. What is being presented to you is a general nomenclature for these teams. So what these teams do, basically because they have collected your data, that includes PAN number if available, then your Aadhaar details or other identity details. It may be other than Aadhaar, you can have your driving license, voter ID, passport also. So based on this, the credit team or risk team does a background check of you as a customer. Lot of government has already created a central database of willful defaulters, fraudsters. All public sector, private sector, all banks are connected to that central database. So all your document validation is done. Like a history of you as an individual is captured. Once that is done, documents are verified, then account is opened, and then customer can use the account for numerous functions. Okay. One thing that Darshan has pointed is that as your account is opened, so the nature of account may require you to maintain a 100 rupees, 500 rupees, 1000, 10,000, or 1 lakh rupees minimum balance. So that much minimum balance you have to deposit. So that is a good point. In fact, this we talked about day before yesterday, this banking correspondent. So those are like no frill accounts. So those no frill account is basically where you need not keep a minimum balance. Then Shivam says PAN card to income tax department. Yeah, Shivam, good. So let me take what Shivam has said. PAN card is basically covered in the third header. Documentation collected from customer. So based on the nature of account customer is opening, documents are collected, and PAN card is one of the documents that bankers do collect. So what is there that now the bank system at a central database level is also linked to the income tax department system. So whatever PAN details you do, it's automatically validated by the bank through that interlink. So a lot of automatic validations are being done. But PAN card is taken, it is validated also. Yes. Then let us go to the risk. For risk and control, we'll go to the module. So this is the process that, so your process flowchart is also given in the module. You can remember this. And then risk and control for current account and saving account. Yeah, Ankit, a good question. Uh, very good. So Ankit's question is that CASA is what? So Ankit, CASAs are two categories of accounts. One is called as a current account, and other is called as a saving account. So like for commercial entities, if a commercial entity wants to open an account in the name of commercial entity, that account is called as a current account. If individuals want to open account, that is a saving account. The basic process of opening the account remains same, current account and saving account. So as the basic process of opening the account is same, so the current account and saving account, they are being taken together. That is the only idea. Okay. When there is a query, no, Gundu Chandrasekhar, data is not shared. Huh. In fact, if you're linking it to the PAN example, the bank is not the bank system at a central database level is linked to income tax department system. So they are validating data. It's not shared. And even if that was an issue, the sharing is with the authorities. So the law has to have that. Okay. Oh my God. So Darshan has a very different full form for CASA. Good. Then Shivam updates that Jandan account has crossed 50 crores. Yeah, we did talk about that, Shivam, day before yesterday. Good. Now let us take the risk. So credit line setup is unauthorized and not in line with bank's policy. Now please understand the nature of account that you are opening and link to the word credit line setup. Okay. See what is happening. You are looking to opening of current account and saving account. So based on the analysis of the customer, banker wants to give some facilities to you. So those facilities can be in line of like credit line. So credit line could be say the in terms of the transactions you can do, in terms of the value of transactions you can do. So that is the setup in system. Before that is set up in system, if you read the control part, there is what is called as a credit committee of a bank that validates the key ratios, key submissions by the individual before allowing the credit lines. The idea about credit line is more relevant to when I say a loan account, but in terms of current account and saving account, you can read it in terms of the facility that the banker is going to provide to you as a customer. Say, for example, day before yesterday, we talked about HNI, high net worth individuals. So, high net worth individuals are those who have a saving bank account of, say, average balance 50 lakh per year. So, banker gives you additional services. What additional services are? Like the checkbook is delivered to your home, there's a separate lounge created by the bank for you in the bank branch itself. So that is how banker wants to respond to that. So when you read this whole idea about credit line in terms of CASA, current account, saving account, relate to it to the facilities that the bank is going to provide it. Credit line as a word is more relevant, more pertinent to advances account, but let us take as it is coming. Then, so based on the net worth and details, the credit line is set up by the credit committee. Then next is credit line setup in core banking system is unauthorized now and not in line with bank's policy. See, if you read this, so there are number of parameters. Yes. So what controls the excess right to authorize credit limit in case of account setup should be restricted to authorized person. Yes. So if an unauthorized person is going to do it, then it is going to be a risky proposition. So this requires good like password management system of the bank. We talked about internal controls in bank itself, a maker checker, the authority of the persons who are going to set credit line, they need to be controlled, restricted, and more importantly, monitored what exactly they are doing. In fact, just for sake of understanding, whenever a change in nature that is given, let me underline it so that you can get a better understanding. Now, I am putting two figures also. Say, for example, say, let us take the word credit line. So what is being done, that credit line for a customer has been enhanced from 10 crores to 12 crores. So this has to be done in the customer master. This will be done by some person. Even if the person is authorized, please understand, even if the person is authorized, this transaction of enhancing credit limit is captured in system. A separate report is generated at the day end, so that, because it's a critical change that is done. So credit line setup has this restriction. So even if authorized person is making a change, the transaction is mandatorily captured in system so that follow-up can be done. If something goes wrong, responsibility can be fixed. Beyond that, if an unauthorized person is able to access bank system, it is going to be a disaster. So you require real good access control in banking system. That exactly is the control defined. What it says that access right to authorized credit limit in case of account setup system should be restricted to authorized personnel, and you can add a line, and these need to be properly monitored. आप एक लाइन लिख लें यहाँ पे कि उसको सेटअप करना जरूरी है, and it requires proper monitoring also. Then many of you put good questions. So once I complete this, I'll come to your questions. Okay. Then customer master defined in CBS is not in accordance. Now, again, please understand the way the line is written. It is basically in terms of an advance, a loan. A person who has a saving account generally will not require a pre-disbursement certificate. If I have a saving bank account, why I require a pre-disbursement certificate? So what you need to understand, link it to the para 1 discussion. I told you that when you talk of credit line setup for a current account and saving account, you look in terms of the facilities that the banker is providing to that individual. So link this pre-disbursement also to the facilities. Okay, then. So access right to authorize, this is again restricted only to authorized person. Then inaccurate interest charge, yeah. This is a system issue that inaccurate interest is being charged. But we've already talked about that now, because it is more than 25 years, Indian banks are using core banking system. So they have all learned core banking system. The bankers have learned how to use it well. The developers have learned how to make it error free. So this inaccurate interest charge by core banking system, the error is not generally a system driven error today. It's more a manual error. Manual error means what? Say, for example, rate of interest has changed from 8% to 1%. So you have to update that rate of interest. So when you delay the update, suppose the rate of interest changes from today, 23rd August, and you have not updated it in system correctly. So more of this error is generally manual driven when updates are done manually, but still the validation has to be there. Let us read. If you read it, again, it talks about advances. No, we are basically talking about saving bank interest. Okay. So interest on fund-based facilities. Now, this is not a fund-based, it's a saving account. But because the error is correct, in saving account also you can get incorrect interest. In fact, if you are looking to advertisements being done by a lot of private, cooperative and some public sector bank also, The general rate of interest on saving bank account is say 2.5 or 3%. But then there was an advertisement sometime back by a private bank that if you maintain minimum 1 lakh rupees balance, they give you interest of 6%. So saving bank account in banks are also now subject to multiple rate of interest. So that error can be there. So to the solution, I'll request you, don't use the word fund-based facility. Interest is automatically calculated in CBS as per defined rules. So rules have to be proper. If I read fund-based facility, I'm talking about loan. That is not the idea. Okay. Then unauthorized persons approving, yes, proper segregation of duty has to be there. Inaccurate accounting entries, yes, this inaccurate accounting entry is going to be generated when your mapping is not correct. Mapping means your transactions. We have talked about this banks work on, we have talked in earlier discussion also. Banks work on what we talked about, system of GLN, SL, general ledger and subsidiary ledgers. So banks work on these systems. Okay. So when you don't do your mapping properly, then this errors occur. I did ask last time also, have you read GLSL? But most of you said no. But this is important, the way banking is done. I think this will be part of the account syllabus. If you can just say whether this is part of syllabus, one part is you have not studied, the other part is whether it is in syllabus. So it is going to be there in your accounts, bank accounting, it has to be there. GLSL, audit also, you may have some reference to this. So this inaccurate accounting is basically linked to the mapping not being done properly. That is. So that is CASA risk. Now your questions. Yeah, Gundu Chandrasekhar. Good. We are on the second part, but let me answer your question because that is the part we are going to talk about. So, see, when you apply for credit card, your banker asks PAN number. Please understand, you cannot get a credit card without a PAN number. Okay. So when you give your PAN number, all your credit card transactions are that you do are going to the bank, and because the PAN is linked to your credit card, they automatically go to income tax department. Yeah, Darshan, I've answered that question. So the whole, you don't have a credit limit per se for a saving account like that, but you give facilities. So I've improved upon the discussion. No, Varsha, bankers are sharing. In fact, some time back, some association with some bank. So that issue came. So one of the credit rating agents, all credit rating agencies have an agreement with the bank. The bankers do not share the loan data. Bankers basically share the operational information. Suppose I am an individual. I don't have a loan like that, but I have a credit card outstanding. Okay. So what the bankers are sharing, they are sharing whether as on a given date, there is some outstanding. So you say yes, no, like that. So that is being shared. So that the credit rating can be done. Then Gudu Chandrasekhara in AIS, that is annual information statement. Yeah, yes. It is mandated by law. So anything that is mandated by law is an exception covered by privacy. It is there in course. Okay, but I've told you GLSL. So this is inaccurate accounting basically triggers from the wrong mapping. Now that is not there, but still mistakes can happen. So that was current account and saving account. Then business process flow of credit cards. So let us take that. Process flow of credit card, process flow of credit card facility clearing, and then control. So we'll take one by one from the module itself. So let me bring the flow chart first and then we'll read the module. So here is the credit card process, how you get your credit card. The process is there. So here is the customer, the bank branch, the risk assessment and credit card disbursement. Now let us read through. Now it can be both way. Huh? Like once you become chartered accountants, so you'll receive lot of phone calls from credit card issuing bank. Sir, we have a lifetime free credit card for you because you're chartered accountant, and then there's a general presumption that chartered accountants are going to earn well. So all bankers want to, or all credit card company wants to have you as a customer. So that is how it is done. So either the customer approaches the relationship manager to apply for credit card facility, or customer will apply same through internet banking. You can add now the credit. So please add here that the credit card issuing companies are also approaching customers. हम आपको क्रेडिट कार्ड देना चाहते हैं ऐसा. Once the potential customer agrees to avail the facility, the relationship manager requests for documents. Here, what Gundu Chandrasekhara asked was covered. That is KYC and other relevant documents of the customer, depending on the facility or the product. Yeah, so this is the nature of credit card you want. The now here this credit line issue has to come. Credit line means what is your expenditure limit on credit card? Here that terms become relevant. Credit line. Now here when banker is going to give you a credit facility, so then it is going to see, it is going to ask your PAN number, your Aadhaar, and they are going to do background check and get details from credit rating agencies. What is your credit score? And based on the assessment, then they fix that, okay, we give you a credit card with a limit up to 20,000 or 40,000 or 1 lakh or 5 lakh or as the case may be. So here that credit line word becomes relevant. So the documents received from customers are handed over to credit team for sanctioning of the facilities and limits. So what the credit team does, two basic work it does. First, validates the authenticity of the documents, checks the credibility of the customer, and tries an assessment of what credit limit can be given to the customer. Credit team verifies the document, assess the financial and credit worthiness of the borrower, because see, it is basically a borrower, it becomes unsecured loan. Okay. Issues a credit limit to customer in core banking system and allots a credit card. Okay, let me, because I've used the word unsecured loan from your bank. So just say in the chat, have you read bank audit in audit? क्या आप लोग audit में bank audit पढ़ चुके हैं? Have you gone through bank audit in your audit syllabus? Say yes, no. Then I'll ask a question. Okay. Then once the allotment is done, then credit card is transferred to the customer address. Now, see, because a lot of 10 years back, still credit card fraud do happen. The frequency has been reduced. So previously credit cards were sent by post and the PIN number was also sent in the same envelope. So the person got understanding that if they want to do a fraud, they will take the whole envelope and not deliver it to the customer. Today, what banks do, they send a credit card separately and send PIN number on your mobile so that misuse is not there. My personal experience was that I got my credit card by post and I had to go to the bank to collect my PIN number. So bankers are doing lot of controls to ensure that the card and the PIN number are separated. Okay. Yes, good. So let me ask a question. It's a prize winning question. I am putting it here. You have to give the correct answer. So two questions. First is, can credit card outstanding become NPA? That is Q1. So you have to say yes, no. And then I'll ask the next question. Question 1, yes. What is question 2? So doubtful, you understand, it becomes a non-performing doubtful. Yes, how SK? Yes, the answer is yes. The second question, if they become doubtful, what is the provision to be made? Okay. So that is going out of syllabus, but let us stick where we are. Yes, good. So I think because Gundu Chandrasekhara is absolutely confident, the e-chocolate goes to Gundu Chandrasekhara. Claps for this. It is doubtful and 100% unsecured, so 100% provision. Great. So this is how you learn and understand. So that is the flow of the credit card issuance. Then operating it. So now you have got the credit card when you are processing it. Okay. So I'm reading through that we know. So we'll run through this fast. Customer will swipe the credit card for purchase made by him, her on point of sale terminal at a merchant shop establishment. We have talked about point of sale terminal, the machine on which you swipe your card. Then I've already told you that whenever you give a PIN number on point of sale terminal, please cover the keypad by hand to ensure that your uh, PIN number is not checked, is not captured by any person, and it is not captured in the so many video cameras now you have in departmental stores. Always cover your keypad by hand before you type your PIN number. In fact, we talked about this many times. Just recently, I think, if you allow, I'll read that. Just a day back, there was a message by Reserve Bank, means to all the, you must have also got it. Yeah, RBI. I'll let me read it in Hindi, then I'll read it. एटीएम में अजनबियों से सहायता न लें। पिन डालते समय एटीएम कीपैड को हमेशा हाथ से ढक के रखें। RBI. So it says that whenever you go to an ATM, please don't share your PIN numbers. Suppose you feel uncomfortable in operating an ATM and you find a stranger in and then you share your PIN number or give your card to withdraw cash, don't do it. And the second line of RBI message says that kindly cover the keypad of the ATM while you type your PIN number. So the instruction, I received it yesterday. Yeah. Let me see the date. Yesterday. So always be sure. Okay, Varsha, everyone I think has got it. Yeah, good, Varsha. Thank you. So we talked about, so see, this is how it's an evolving process. Then, so on point of sale terminal, you swipe your card, then POS will process the transaction only once it is authenticated, say through PIN number. POS will send the authentication request to merchant bank, also referred to the acquiring bank, which will then send the transaction to the credit card network. We have already talked about 4 companies as of now: Visa, Master, American Express, and RuPay card, from which data will be validated within a fraction of second. Once transaction is validated, the approval message is received from the credit card issuing bank to the credit card network that is reflected in the point of sale terminal. A receipt of transaction is generated. So this is how the transaction is completed. Okay. Now you have done a transaction now. So you have expended the money today based on the credit facility provided by the card issuing bank. You may have to make a payment in 30 days or 45 days. How it is done? So that part. The transaction data from merchant, means the vendor from whom you have bought the product, is transferred to the merchant's bank. Merchant bank clears settlement around to merchant after deducting the merchant fees. So if I am the vendor, you have made a payment to me and that has been already validated. So as soon as the validation is complete, this transaction goes to my bank. Then bank has a settlement process with the credit card issuing company network. Amount is credited to my account. Generally, as I understand, it was initially T plus 1 day, but now it is immediate on same day. The credit card issuing merchant, they deduct some charges and the balance amount is credited to my account. Whatever amount vendor has received, less charges. So the basic transaction amount is debited to the customer's credit card account. The credit card issuing bank bases the transaction made, clears the merchant bank after deducting the charges. At the end of the billing cycle, the card issuing company charges the customer card account with those transactions in core banking system. So now you get your credit card statement, you have to pay on a due date. Based on that, the whole transaction is processed. Okay. So that is the transaction processing. Okay. Credit card networks, they issue, they don't print, they issue. You don't say they print credit cards because now credit cards, you have a chip in credit card and then this Wi-Fi touch-based card. So credit card issuance is a very technology-driven process now. So they issue. Okay. Now coming to the next part of discussion on credit card, that is risk and control. Now here the word credit line is pertinent, appropriate. It was not that much pertinent in current account, saving account. So here it is appropriate. Credit line setup is authorized, is unauthorized, not in line. Now here, so here when the bank issues you credit card, they revalidate that or the card issuing company, your net worth, your KYC document validation. Then I've already told you government has already created a centralized database of all financial defaulters. So whether your name appears there, then how credit rating agencies, what is your CIBIL or credit score as on date. So all these factors are analyzed and then only your credit limit is set. So any wrongdoing here can be a disaster. Same issues. Credit line setup is unauthorized. It's a risk. Proper authorization has to be created in system. Then master defined are not as per pre-disbursement. Again, kindly link it to the credit card system. So basically pre-disbursement certificate here will mean that when I am getting the credit card, so bank sets an initial limit. I'm just sharing my example. Say, for example, the bank card I use initially proposed my credit limit to be, say, 100 rupees. I've been using that credit card since long. So just 2 days back, the bank made a proposal to me that we want to increase your credit limit from 100 to 200. Okay. Now, so 100 is what you can say a pre-disbursement certificate or pre-disbursement credit limit, that when banker is going to issue you the credit card for the first time, what is the basic limit they have set? And then over a period of time, it can be reviewed. Very important, because see, this whole credit card operation is based on these limits only. So you require proper segregation of duties so that there is no misuse done here. Then credit line setup can be breached. Yes, breach is possible, but because now the whole thing is so technology driven that suppose my credit is 100 rupees as of now, I have already expended 90 rupees and I am trying to make a payment of 15 rupees more. So that will make my usage beyond 100. The bank's card that I use, that card allows me. So as soon as I breach that limit, I get a phone call from the credit card issuing bank. So they make a phone, sir, your limit is 100 and you are making a payment of 100. You're making an additional payment that we breach. So do you want to allow it? I can allow. So breach setup has to be configured. Okay. Then again, inaccurate interest. Yes, because the banker's cash is involved. So here the mistake can be there. But now it's a system driven process. In fact, in credit card operations, there is absolutely no manual intervention. The interest rates are all system driven, but still error can be there. And last is very important, improper reconciliations. Must keep a tag on that. So that is credit card issuance. Business process flow of mortgages. Oh, very important discussion. So we'll be talking about type of mortgage loan, process description, risk and controls. So types of mortgage loans. So home loan. So we have talked about home loan. We talked about now today bankers, technically it's a mortgage loan, but over a period of time, this definitions are redone. So today the header for all these type of loan has become, we talked about day before yesterday, retail loans, okay, or individual loans. So within individual loans, you have home loan, education loan, vehicle loan, personal loan. So these are categorized in this. Why only home loan is being talked about? Because this is of the, within the category of mortgage loan, this is the most used product like that. Then, so home loan is that you take loan to construct home. There are Reserve Bank of India guidance on how bank is going to advance home loans. In fact, there was a recent update by Reserve Bank of India on the tenor. Generally, home loan means the tenor, the repayment period is 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So what Reserve Bank of India found, that bankers have been arbitrarily changing this. So Reserve Bank of India has come with a strict guidance that bankers have to be very strict. They are planning to issue a guidance on the maximum tenor or how the repayment period is going to be calculated. So a lot of controls are there on home loan. It's a big business for public sector bank, private sector bank, non-banking finance companies, other financial institutions. There are special home loan finance companies, HFCs they call. So it's a very big area. That one loan is home loan. So suppose today you are constructing a house, you take a loan of rupees 1 crore, you have constructed, you have started living, your need increases. So on the same, you can take a top up, additional loan on the same thing. That is. Then bankers have got their norms. They allow you loan on under construction properties also. Then the issue is coming this only, the fixed rate and fluctuating rate of interest, how your original terms are there. Generally, banks' preference will be fluctuating rate of interest. Like today, the business environment, the macroeconomic condition, the geopolitical situation, the war with Russia and Ukraine COVID pandemic being 3 years back. So today the interest rate are increasing. Okay, across the globe, there is a general trend of increasing rate of interest. General trend. Exceptions will be there, but generally the rate of interest is increasing. So if the interest rate is increasing, I am a banker, the rate at which I borrow as a banker increases. So the rate at which I lend, they must also increase. So if there is a correlation between the two, then I call my rate as fluctuating rate of interest. If there is, and as a banker, I prefer fluctuating rate of interest because higher I pay, higher I charge. But there are products by the bank where the rate of interest is fixed. So as a customer, as a borrower from the bank, over the tenor of loan, I'll only pay a specified rate of interest. Bankers' cost of borrowing may increase, decrease. It is not going to affect me as a borrower from. So that is fixed and fluctuating rate. You must have read these words in your bank audit also. Then process description for mortgage loan and the risk and controls. So we'll go to the module. Let me refresh for queries. So business process flow for mortgages. A mortgage loan is a secured loan which is secured on borrower's property by marking a lien on the property. Now see, this is important. Do keep a tag of this word. So I have a question to ask. So a property is mortgaged. Who keeps a track of it? कौन व्यक्ति ये ध्यान रखता है कि इस प्रॉपर्टी पे लोन दिया या नहीं दिया? Try to answer this. So because see, numerous banking frauds are done on this one line only. Lien on property. So there is multiple financing. The lien is not marked. So let us discuss this one. So who uses mortgages? So mortgages are used by individuals, businesses in real estate for their home construction. The types of mortgage loan include home loan, we have talked about, top up and loan under construction. Now, process description. So loans are provided by lender, which is a financial institution like a bank or a mortgage company. And we have added more to this. So this home loan is a very dedicated sector in banking finance in India. So bank can provide a home loan. Non-banking finance companies provide home loan. Other financial institutions, including you have dedicated housing finance company, they provide home loans. So there are two basic categories of home loans. One is which is called as fixed rate mortgage and a variable or floating rate mortgage. We have talked about how they work through. Then the borrower customer approaches the bank for a mortgage, and the relationship manager or the loan officer explains the customer about the loan and the feature. Customer fills the application, provides KYC documents, including income certificate, other liabilities that the customer is carrying, other loan details, if any. The loan officers review the loan application, sends it to the credit risk team, who will calculate the financial obligation income ratio, which is to determine the customer's financial eligibility on how much loan can be provided to the customer. This is done on basis of credit score, that CBIL score we talked about. Other income and expense details provided, the rate of interest at which the loan is being offered. Once financial eligibility is determined, then along with customer documents, the details are sent to underwriting team for approval. So underwriting team is it can have any name. You keep the name underwriting so that they are going to finally say yes to it like that. Underwriting team will verify the applicant's history, if the person is salaried, the employment information. Underwriter will ensure that the loan provided is within the lending guidelines, and at this stage provide conditional approval along with the list of documents required. As per the property selected by the customer, loan officer will provide the property details along with requisite documents, property papers to the legal and valuation team. So from here because see, the property has to be mortgaged, so validation has to be done. Legal team will carry out title search on property, which will depend the legal owner of the property and any restriction or lien on the property. That was the question that I asked. So we have good answer. Darshan says encumbrance certificate. Then for business, MCA keep, yeah, for companies, Varsha, for companies, not business. MC, and there is a word that I thought, yes, so Varsha has put a good point that MCA, then you require NOC from housing society if you are living there. And that one very good point Varsha has put is that banker will always ask the original property papers because that saves the bank from risk of duplicate financing. So it's a good point. And then the sub-registrar where your property is registered, there the bank, any bank who is giving finance marks that property as encumbered. And there is something called as a CERSAI now. You must have read CERSAI, CERSAI. So it's a centralized registration of all properties on which loan is given by a bank. So there also bankers validate. So because this not marking lien has become a big issue. So that is why it is done. Then further verification of property to determine whether property is built as per approved plan, builder has received requisite certificate, the age of the building, that is from experts. So then again, you take help of experts for these technical validations. Legal and valuation team will send their report to the operations team, which will generate letter of offer to the customer about the loan amount, the rate of interest, the tenor of repayment, the monthly installments, and all details. Customer will agree to loan agreement, which is offered by signing the offer letter. Loan offer is notarizes. This is important. Legal notarize means marking it for legality of the loan documents, and then it is sent to the operations team. Once the signed offer letter is received, the operation team will release or disburse the fund and prepare a cashier order. Cashier order is provided to customer in exchange of mandatory original property document. So this is one of the key controls. Once exchange is carried, bank places a charge or lien on the property so that if customer defaults, they can recover it by selling the property. Post disbursement of loan, customer can carry out various loan servicing activities by visiting the branch. Okay, this is how the flow of the mortgage flow has been given in the module. I think one full page is there. Okay. Then risk and controls. Yes. So we'll start it just, I need to refill the water. So just give me 30 seconds. We'll start in 30 seconds again. back after refill. So uh, risk and controls around mortgage process. Now, again, it is good, important. Incorrect customer and loan details are captured, which will affect the overall downstream process. Yes. So this is very important. Suppose uh, this credit score is, I don't know the maximum that is available, but say credit score is like this. What I know is the maximum is 900. Okay, you can update. Now see why this is important. Suppose the credit score of customer is 650 and it is someone incorrectly, inadvertently feeds it as 750. So credit score that is 650 and incorrectly fed as 750, it is going to have a fundamental change in the whole assessment process. So that is very important. There is a secondary review performed by an independent team member who will verify loan details captured in core banking application with the offer letter. So whether the details have been properly captured, then this is a disaster, incorrect loan amount. So this today, the way systems are, this is just not a possibility, but still the risk is there. So there has to be a secondary review performed by an independent team member who will verify the loan amount to be dispersed and as per the sanction. Then interest, yeah, this can always happen because now all interest calculations are automated. We have talked about there could be a chance of floating rate of interest. So if there is a floating rate of interest means what? The interest rate has to be changed. So if the change is incorrect, then this incorrect interest calculation is a risk that is there. And unauthorized changes made to loan master data, proper security not being there, this is a huge risk that may come. Then we want to take business process flow of treasury. Okay, Darshan, thank you. So maximum is 900 and minimum is 300. Great. That is CIBIL score. Okay, if your credit rating is good, so you get, that is good. So that is why this discussion is good, that the rate of interest or the basic information about the customer has to be correctly captured because it has a deep impact. Very good. Now, we want to start the next, but then before that, we need to take the MCQ for the day. Again, a case-based MCQ. So let us do that. Then once complete, we'll come to the treasury. Just give me a second. So we are taking an MCQ now. Please understand, day after tomorrow is our last lecture. So I requested the Board of Studies that can we have a MCQ that covers all the 5 chapters. So day after tomorrow, we'll have a dedicated session, probably 30 minutes, only on MCQ that are based on case studies. And those case study will cater to all the 5 chapters. Okay. So let us start today's. Please read through the case. If you are through, say yes. If you find any word that in question is a technical word, I explain. So you can always ask So please explain this. Yeah. So I was waiting for this question, MCLR. So I'll define that. Now see, so to understand MCLR, I'll write few words. It's a good discussion. It is part of the syllabus. If you are not learning using here, you are going to use at some other location. So I'm writing few words. Okay. I'll tell you what they are. So I've written three words. So first I'm starting with the first word, that is cost of capital. Now, cost of capital, you know that imagine myself as a banker. So what I do, I take funds and give advance. So I get funds from, so saving bank deposit is my liability, current account is my liability. I borrow. So whatever is my cost of borrowing becomes my cost of capital. That is. So it's an evolving process. It's a dynamic process. So over a period of time, Reserve Bank of India and the government realized that, see, each bank has to know what is its cost of capital. And what is my average cost of capital? Just understand. Say, for example, I am the largest private public sector bank in India. My total borrowing is 10 lakh crores. So 10 lakh crore is going to have some average cost of capital that I must know. So I must be able to calculate. For ease of understanding, I call that cost of capital as base rate. Base rate means this is my minimum borrowing rate. So this becomes my benchmark, or in costing, I can say this is my break-even rate. Break-even rate means if I give loan at this rate, I'll not earn any profit. Okay. So if I'm not going to earn any profit, then how I'm going to survive? Because I have overheads, branches, salaries to pay. So then what I do, I build on this to create something that is called as NIM. NIM is net interest margin. NIM is net interest margin. For sake of comfort, sake of discussion, if my cost of capital is say 6%, that becomes like my base rate. If I give you advance at 8%, मेरी कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल 6% है और मैं आपको एडवांस 8% पे देता हूं. So my net interest margin is 2%. That is called as NIM, net interest margin. Now, why all this discussion and why sharing these terms with you? Because we want to come to the word MCLR. MCLR is a new phenomena that has come. Now, MCLR was built on the basic definition of cost of capital. Try to understand. I am a public sector bank. My cost of capital for 10 lakh crore is say 6%. But you have been reading this credit rating agencies, rating bank, countries. So I also have a credit rating. Like Varsha said, that this based on the credit rating, you get low rate of interest. Your interest rate is reduced. That is applicable to me as an organization also. Now understand that my cost of capital is 6%. Till today, my net interest margin is 2%. So I am advancing at 8%. I require additional 50,000 crores. I borrow additional 50,000 crores. Because my credit rating is good, my additional borrowing is at 5%. My additional borrowing is at 5%. This what I call is marginal rate of borrowing. My cost of capital is 6, but my marginal rate of borrowing is at 5. So if my net interest margin is 2%, my new rate of all new advances that I will give from additional 50,000 crores will be at 7%. That is what is called as marginal cost of lending. Okay. So if you look at the whole scenario, all people who avail loan till today have rate of interest 8%. Now, because my marginal rate of borrowing is 5%, I, as a banker, can give additional loan at 7%. So it is a win-win situation for the bank. It allows competitive advantage. For the customer, it reduces their effective rate of interest. Of course, when the interest rates are reducing, it goes like that. But today, the interest rates are increasing. So marginal cost of lending also increases. So my previous loan as a banker may be at 6%. But if I go for new borrowing, I get it 7% because the rate of interest has increased. So to maintain my net interest margin of 2%, I give new advances at 9%. That also is a business sense that I am incurring new additional cost. I must give at additional rate of interest. That is marginal cost of lending. So marginal is, you have read marginal costing in costing. So the additional delta, what we call the difference rate of interest for new lending and borrowing. So I think you have read. Okay. So let us go to the questions. So the case is on the left and question is on the right. Now you say question 1, what is the answer? B. Great. So keep marking your, keep give you a score also. Next. So 2 was a giveaway. So commission at the time of sanction, interest if it devolves. So when it says total facility, you add all. Okay. Yes, Darshan. Devolvement. Yes. Okay, I'll accept that, Darshan. But the question was not restricted. Uh, Rajiv Kumar Singh, the question says best. Means, see, it can be covered by all, but we need the like edus dem generis. I want this specific. We talked about it. Revenue audit, the revenue leakage. Great. NB. Great. Good. You understood it well. Very good. So that is, we had 11 questions. So I want the score you got. It was good case study. Good, Harshit. 10 out of 11. Very good. Then Sunil Kumar 8 is good. Darshan 9 is good. Varsha is 8. Very good. Uh, then Kriti 6. Don't worry. That is not also bad. Good. Rajiv Kumar Singh 8. Great. So that is for today. We are closing today. We'll meet day after tomorrow. The last class for this paper 7A. With come with any query, any chapter on this EIS. And then we'll have again good case studies that now covers all the 5 chapters of this syllabus. So thank you. Good night. We are closing.